Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Mike and today we are going to be talking favorite knitwear. And I was like, I already showed you my entire cardigan collection, which I can link in the eye above in case you're interested. And I wanted to do another video like this, but then all about my sweaters. And then I was like, but I really don't have that much going on in the sweater department, as in like different types of sweaters that would be of interest in showing you guys. So that's why I've selected 10 of my favorites, so I can show you what kind of sweaters I kind of go for and to sort of talk about them that way. So I will insert a clip right now where I show you my storage, how I store my sweaters, and you can see which ones I have. And so we'll be rolling that clip right now. Right, so this would be where I keep all of my sweaters. I've got 3 shelves. There are a few missing because they are in the wash, and I won't be trying all of them on for you because that would be a bit crazy, but I'm going to show you my 10 favorites. So as you could have seen in that clip, I sort of keep it on 3 different shelves, and each shelf has roughly 2 stacks with like a different organization behind it. So the top shelf is patterned sweaters, so things with a stripe go up there, and then my brightly colored ones, so the reds and the yellows and the purples, those will go up there. Then the middle shelf is my most worn, so that's jewel tones and grays and creams. And then the bottom shelves is like the darker, more earthy tones, like the taupes and the blacks. And then I have sort of like the pastel-y, very sort of more springtime sweaters that I keep to the right there as well. So that's sort of the categorization I have going on, and I've selected at least one, in some categories there are more, at least one of the sweaters from each of the categories to showcase you what I've got going on in those particular departments, and to showcase also some of my favorite brands. Now there's really only 2 brands that I love for knitwear, and that's H&M and Other Stories. So a lot of it is H&M. I think that by showing you this today, I think I have shown you pretty much all of the other brands that I have as well, because there is a Zara sweater in here and one by Weekday, but that's about it. I think I may own like a monkey one, maybe one from Topshop still, but those don't get worn a lot. What I tend to go for is H&M and Other Stories. I will tell you a little bit more about why I like those particular brands for knitwear as we go along. So starting with the sweater I'm wearing today, it's just a lounging around the house Saturday, and this is the kind of sweater that I really like for that. It is a very warm sweater, even though it feels quite thin, and that's why I like it for like colder weather and like lounging around the house stuff. This will do just perfectly. However, I have found that when I wear this out and about, it tends to be, because of the deep V, it's a bit cold up here. So if it's like really windy, it doesn't really keep me warm as much as I'd like to, but then it makes me overheat at the same time because it's so warm. So it's not the best for going out, but this is one of my favorite ones for lounging around the house. Oh, and I will be combining all of these sweaters with my favorite pair of jeans and favorite pair of shoes of the moment. So this is the Topshop straight leg jeans, and I am wearing that with, oops, I can't show you this today. There we go, balance, balance. Those are my Vagabond Chelsea boots. They're the Grace with the zip up the sides, so you know what you're looking for. So yeah, that's pretty much what else I'm wearing, so that I'm going to be trying all of these on and talk to you about all of these sweaters. Now the focus in today's video is going to be sweaters that I love and adore, so these are all items that have been in my collection for quite some time, even though there are 1 or 2 pieces in here that I bought in the current season. However, this is a piece you can always buy from Other Stories. This is their very basic high neck, I think it's called the mock neck sweater. It retails for 39 euros, and they do it in a bunch of shades at the start of the fall winter season, and then they sometimes bring out other colors throughout the season. By now, most of the colors are out of stock. But yeah, by next season they'll be doing this again. I bought this one years ago, and it's one of my favorites. I just really like the texture of this. It has a really nice cuddly feel because of the high neck. It always keeps you warm and toasty, but it never makes you overheat. I like the length of this as well. It's quite fitted because I bought this in a small, but I actually have one in a large as well, in like a light gray, that I like for that more billowy, oversized, like tucking in kind of moment. This one, again, I tend to wear around the house mostly by now because it is so nice and snug. But this was also a great layering piece because it is not that thick. You can easily put a cardigan or a blazer over it. It works really well under coats. And yeah, you could also tuck it, of course. I don't tend to do it with this one because it is a little bit more fitted, so I didn't want it at the time. And it's just this gorgeous navy shade that I love. From the spring sort of selection, I selected this one, and I've shown you this one in a video before. This is a really old H&M Trend Edition sweater, and this is why I also want to point out why I love H&M so much for sweaters. I do recommend spending a little bit more in H&M when you buy a sweater from them. Their knitwear is much better quality once you get into the €25 plus price range. I believe this one was like 40 because of the more design element that this has, and it was of course from the Trend collection, which is always a bit more expensive. But this is a seafoam green, this is a seafoam green asymmetrical sweater. I'll show you what it looks like if I untuck it. Like, it's straight at the bottom and then it doesn't really do much. Like, it's got a bat wing, and then this, you can sort of make it like this if you'd like to. But I like to do it one shoulder and then sort of draping it a little bit more so like this. And then I like rolling up the sleeves because these sleeves, let me show you, are like really big, so they aren't the most comfy, so you definitely need to roll these up to make it work. And I just really like the color in the springtime. This is great with like a lighter pair of denim. I really like this, and it's just because of the open, really wide neckline, it just adds a little bit more pizzazz. It's just a really good one, and I've had this for absolutely years, and that just goes to show that you can find good quality knitwear at H&M as long as you spend a little bit more. Don't go for the cheapy stuff because that usually doesn't last as long, I find. So that's why this sort of like seafoam greeny kind of shade I've always thought was very flattering on me. It's got a more interesting cut. And this is just, it's a bit of a different one, and I think it's a good one to have. That one sweater that you kind of, again, can also wear to like an occasion if you'd want to be very comfortable, because that's what this is. It's very comfortable, yet still very sort of a little bit sexy because of that shoulder that you can show. Okay, sweater number 3 would be this cozy number from H&M. This is an olive toned sweater with a very high turtleneck, and I love this thing. I bought it into sales completely on a whim. But this is one of my favorite type of sweaters that H&M does. They do it in different renditions every single year. What you need to look out for is this sort of very stretchy knit material. It has a lot of elaston. I have like 4 or 5 of these. There's going to be another one coming up because I love the shade of that, and it doesn't have this neckline, but I love this one in particular because you can very easily just throw on a coat over this and you can go out the door even if it's very cold. So this is just one of those sweaters where I'm like, because it's a little bit more cropped as well, it's great for tucking into something a little bit more high-waisted as I'm wearing today. So yeah, this is just such a lovely sweater, and it's really nice and warm and toasty, and I love the color of this. There's just something about this really deep, dark, rich olive green tone that I love. And yes, sometimes these sweaters just go on sale and you can get them for half off. If you're looking for something a little bit more lightweight, if you're not really into like really heavy knits, then I think you have to go somewhere else, namely Zara. This is the only kind of sweater I've ever owned from Zara that I think is worth the money. This was super affordable. It was only 15 euros, I think, and that was like the real price. I do have to say though that one of the reasons why I don't love Zara for knitwear is because a lot of their knitwear I find doesn't last. It does, like after a few washes, it just looks really tatty, and I have found that in the past as well with some Primark stuff that I've owned. So for me, Zara is not a brand I go to for like very basic items such as a sweater or like a knit that I tend to wear all the time, because the reason why some of those sweaters were missing in the overview was because I had already worn them. By the time I get to do laundry again, like those shelves are nearly empty after like 2 weeks or so, because I'm just rotating through these. I think I've worn all of my sweaters by now. in the past 2 months. So winter time is definitely when I just really love a good sweater, and these knits are just really, really good. However, Zara is great for this very sort of, it's like a cottony material almost. They're very lightweight, great for like transitioning, whether in like the fall and the springtime. They usually do a ton of different styles. These also come in like knit, like cardigans. You can get them with like little buttons. They come with like little buttons on the side as well in a crew neck. I happen to find this stunning petrol shade, and that's why I bought it. The only reason why I bought and hung on to this high neck sweater from Zara is because it is a petrol. And petrol is one of my favorite shades to wear. It's just difficult to find the right kind of petrol because a lot of brands do turquoises, but like the deeper shades, they just don't really do them. So this one I love because of that shade, and I love wearing this in fall time. Again, with a high-waisted pair of jeans, you're just good to go and out the door in a jiffy. Sweater number 5, we're halfway after this one, is another H&M knit. And this is what I mean, what you can get if you spend a little bit more in H&M. H&M do some really, really good 100% wool knits, I have to say. They are more expensive. I think I paid $79.95 for this one. And this is current season. I got this at the start of the fall winter season. I think I put this in my fall haul. I'm pretty sure I did, and I just love this. And this is the kind of style of sweater that we're seeing a lot popping up this season. Like before it was like these high necks, and like that's been around for a while, but this more like crew neck style, and then with these like very straight sleeves and a very straight sort of cut in the body is what we're starting to see now. I tend to just wear this as is. I don't really tend to do anything with it. However, you could tuck it if you'd like to, but this is, because of the heavy wool material, it's not the best for doing that. But you can, you know, you can make it work. Like, you could do that. Have a bit of a tuck moment. Again, I always tuck everything. Almost everything gets tucked into my jeans. And I love how the sleeves on this are a bit longer and like really nice and snug. And because it's 100% wool, it's just so cozy. I did have to like figure out how to wash this properly, I'm not gonna lie, because it's not machine washable. That's the downside of real wool. However, I just use a delicate cycle, and I tend to like let it dry naturally, and then it's pretty fine. But yeah, I just really loved how this draped. Yeah, and what I love also about this particular one, so if you can still get it, it's from their premium line, so it's more expensive for that reason. But I love how the gray is this marl, and it has like darker specks, almost like navy, and then it's got a brown running through it as well, which I love. So this is just such a really good, just staple piece that I know I'll be wearing a lot for years. I mean, a lot of the things you just saw and that are coming up, I've had for absolutely ages. So I know that this I will get a lot of wear out of, that's for sure. So I lied about the previous one. It's not 100% wool, it's actually 90% wool and 10% cashmere. That's probably why it's so soft and not super itchy. So I forgot to say that. I was taking it off and I was like, oh, it says here it's got cashmere, and I was like, how much? And it's like 10% cashmere. So it's a pretty good deal, I guess. But yeah, we can do a favorite knitwear video without my favorite ever piece of knitwear that I ever bought. This sweater is life. I've owned it since 2014, I think. And this is that style of H&M sweater that I told you I love so much, with the elastane in it. Like I said, they do these every single year. I think I pick up one every single year. I picked up a dark gray one this year. I think last year I bought the olive one that you saw with the high neck. I have one in a taupe shade that I bought the year before that. Like, oh, I've got a green one with a V-neck that I've had for years. Like, I just really like this style of H&M knit. It's not really a knit. Like, it's not a wool. I think it's like a acrylic kind of blend thing. It's really not the best. But these are, like, they're not so super heavy that you can just make them work. Like, if it starts to get a little bit cooler, you can already wear them, but then when winter really hits, you can just put like a little cami underneath it and you're still good to go. So these are just the workhorses of my knitwear collection, and I had to show you my favorite mustard number. It has this, I'm not sure if you can see. So it has this like rolled up little neck sort of thing. So that's fine. And then it just has quite a long length actually. So this is how you can tell that this sweater has been around for a while, because I don't think anybody still wears such long sweaters. That's just how you can tell how old something is sometimes. Lengths and like numbers of buttons and sleeves will very often also give away how old something might be. But yeah, this is just such a nice, just throw on kind of piece if I don't know what to wear and this is not in the wash, because trust me, that happens a lot, that I'm like, I want to wear my mustard sweater and then it's in the wash. Like, I just literally picked this off my drying line and put it back in the wardrobe just yesterday because I had worn it again. It is because of that workhorse status. It's starting to look and feel a little tatty, I have to say, after 7 years of wear. Like, this is definitely in its 7th season of life. So yeah, this is definitely bang for your buck. You know how knitwear sometimes can be a bit lumpy? I don't love very lumpy knitwear apart from this one. And this is another one. Oh, I bought this in Denmark, and the only time I've been to Denmark is in 2014 when I did an interrail trip. So again, by this summer, I will have had this one for 7 years for sure. And it survived so many different declutters because again, if I want my outfit to have more of a grunge moment, and it is the fall winter season, I tend to throw on this thing and it just always works. I remember I used to wear this with a pair of like gray acid wash skinny jeans. Right now I would wear it more like this with a pair of like distressed hemmed straight leg jeans, preferably in a black or like a dark gray. I have this like really nice like washed out black pair from Topshop. They're exactly the same as these ones, but then in a black. So I tend to, like, this is like how I go for that old black sort of dark moment, which I'm usually not a fan of. I like a bit of color, as you'll see in a minute. But yeah, this is just a great one. And it's stripy, which I have only a handful of patterned knits. And the reason for that is because I like them to be quite basic. I'd rather, like, I don't mind if the knit itself has a pattern, like the gray sweater from H&M with like the marbled effect. I like that. But very often, like if it really has like a print, I find it a bit too bold and a bit too loud almost, and it kind of overtakes the entire outfit, and whatever else you have on, you don't really notice anymore. So for me, this is definitely more of like a statement piece, which is probably why it has survived for such a long time. And this is the kind of piece I tend to wear mainly in the fall time. And the reason why I wear it in the fall time is because this is a very thin, cottony knit. Let me show you up close. It's quite open and like coarse, so this just has all the air coming through. So it's not the warmest, not something I will wear in the dead of winter like we are now. So remember what I said about I don't mind if the knit itself has a bit of a texture or like multiple colors to it, but I don't really like it if it has a print. This is the kind of sweater I was referring to. So I do like knits that have this. So this is an orange sweater, but because it's got brown and red and white running through it, it doesn't look that in-your-face orange. I actually have another one that has a similar effect, but then with a yellow, and that looks much brighter orange because of the yellow that's running through it. And that also has a slightly different sleeve. This is just a very basic, sort of like more crop knit. Again, it's from H&M. Who would have known? And again, this is like, if that mustard sweater is my top favorite, this would be number 2. Also in terms of like most worn. This one I've mended so many times because like around the neckline here, things like some of the threads came loose, and I tried to fix it best I could, and you can't really see that anymore. So I've been wearing this again for years. I think I bought this around the same time as the mustard one, I'd say. So I think I must have had this maybe a little later or maybe even earlier than that. So this is again one of the workhorses of my knitwear collection for sure. And I just love this. I just love the richness of the tone that you get. And it does have, I'm not sure if you can see, but it has this like pattern that makes it very flattering on me. I don't know why. And this would be rounding out the top 3 of all my favorite all-time knitwear. This would be the number 3. And this sweater that I'm wearing right now would take the number 3 spot in my top 3 all-time favorite knits. This is another H&M one, and it's bright red. It's more like an orange toned red. It's more like a tomatoey red almost. It's not as bright of a fire engine red as the sweater I showed you in one of my most recent hauls. In my winter haul, I showed you a turtleneck red H&M sweater. So H&M does red sweaters all the time, but this one I just love because this has, I'm not sure if you can see, but it has a bell sleeve, or like a balloon sleeve, you could say. And I like a good balloon sleeve on sweaters as well. So that's another like design detail that I like. And then I just like how plain it is because the color itself just, I don't know. I put something red on, you guys, and I swear, just like with a red lipstick, or whether it's a red dress or a red coat or a red sweater, something just happens and I love it. So yeah, this is definitely more of a statement, but I love the juxtaposition of the red with jeans very often. And I have a pair of red boots that matches this sweater perfectly. So that's one of my go-to combos. So red boots, red sweater, and you're out the door. So this is loud, it's bold, but it's really nice. And this is so nice and soft as well. This is more like a true knit. I believe this does have a bit of wool in it, but it's more like a blend again. But again, I've had this for years. I mean, I remember buying this, I think right before I moved. So this is, again, I've had it for like 3 or 4 years. Like, I mean, like once I love something, it stays with me for years, people. That's sort of like my philosophies when it comes to clothing. I have a lot, yes, but the reason why I have a lot is because if I love something, I don't care that balloon sleeves are out at the moment, that it's not that trendy. I still love this piece. I love it on me. I think it looks great, it feels great, and I feel great in it. And that's the only thing that matters to me. So yeah, this is my bright red H&M sweater. And last but not least, can you guess where this one is from? Oh yes, it's another H&M number. And this is my current burgundy sweatshirt. So there's 3 sweaters featured in today's video from my jewel toned shelf, because those are the ones I tend to, no, 4, because the blue one is on that shelf too. So I've got the mustard one, the burgundy one, the blue and other stories one, and also that orange sweater that you saw are all on the same shelf, because those are just, those jewel tones, man, I love it. And I love a good wine red burgundy number as well. Used to own one from H&M that I absolutely loved, like the mustard and the orange one. I wore it so much that I finally decided to declutter it this season and buy a replacement. And I found this on the H&M website, again in like the fall time, I think. And this is just a little bit more updated from that one. That was, again, a little bit more fitted. That's what I used to go for. But this one, it just drapes so nicely. It has the higher neck, but without it being very constricting like the olive one. That's like a true turtleneck. This is just coming up a little bit higher. So it keeps you nice and warm. It does have those like wider sleeves that are up and about a lot right now. You see it a lot, but these, as you can see, taper in a little bit more towards the cuffs, but they don't really have cuffs. And then they just have this really nice, ooh, there's hair everywhere. It's got this really nice design detail again, where you have these lines that sort of shape the sweater to drape over your body the way you'd like it to. But yeah, jeans, sweatshirt, and I'm good to go. That's all I need. That's all I need from life, especially if it's super duper cold, which is why I wanted to make this video. My go-to places, H&M and their stories for sure, because I just love a good knit. Can't help it. So yeah, this is the final sweater I wanted to show you in today's video. I really hope you enjoyed watching my 10 favorite sweaters. Like, out of that entire like line that I have, these represent the kind of styles that I have, the kind of colors that I love, the kind of like materials that I love, plus the retailers that I love to shop from when it comes to knitwear. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I would love for you to join my family. I try to make a little bit of fashion content here too, but I'm mainly here for the beauty stuff. So if you'd like to see more makeup related stuff as well, then please stay tuned because I make 3 new videos a week. Hope to see you in my next one. Bye bye.